Welcome to the second part of this video series for question 2. In this video, we're going to be focusing on a very important concept, which is around completing the table. So in the last video, if you've checked it out, we talked about how to find expressions for the gradient and the y-intercept. And this video now builds up on top of that knowledge. The second question that you're going to encounter under question 2 for paper 5 is basically completing the table. So as simple as it sounds, all you have to do is completing the table. But trust me, there are a lot of misconceptions that people have when it comes to completing the table that I'm going to debunk exactly in this video. So please do stay along and watch this video to the end. And if you want to access the document that I'm going to be using, the link is in the description below, and email us and I'll be able to send the document to you, and you can help this channel to grow. I really hope that this content is meaningful and can be able to help you in your question, in your paper 5 journey. Okay. So before you even talk of uncertainties, you must first be able to calculate missing values in the table. Let's go through an example to clarify what I mean by this, right? We'll also cover how many significant figures you must put in your answer when completing the table. Something that most students miss, because whenever I teach students, all right, I'm an online physics tutor, and I keep on teaching students, but they keep on missing these marks because the number of significant figures that they have do not add up. So I'm going to first start by explaining what even is a significant figure to begin with. So significant figures are the digits in a number that carry meaning about its precision. What do I mean by this? They just help us to show how accurate a measurement is by indicating which digits are reliable and which digits are placeholders. So they just want to they help us in identifying which digits are actually meaningful and which digits are just placeholders. So we're going to go through 5 different points underneath this. So the first one, non-zero digits are always significant. So for example, 1, 2, 3 has 3 significant figures, 5.678 has 4 significant figures. So if there isn't a zero at the beginning or anywhere else, that digit is significant. Zeros between non-zero digits are always significant. For example, 102, that's significant. 2 has 3 SF. 50.08 has 4 SF. The third law is leading zeros, so those zeros before non-zero digits are not significant, right? They're not significant at all. So 0.006 has 1 SF, and trailing zeros after a decimal point are significant. So 2.3000 actually has 4 SF, and then 2 and 3 and like that, for example, and those 2 zeros, all of them are significant. But trailing zeros in whole numbers without decimal points are not significant. So for example, saying 1500 actually has 2 SF. But if you say 1.500, the mere fact that you've put a decimal point, that implies that all of those 4 digits are now significant. By just saying 1500, it doesn't really make those 2 zeros significant. So now you've understood what significant figures are. I'm going to now make some assumptions and make you better understand this particular concept. So we're going to better understand, as always, by using an example. The first example is from May-June 2022, question paper 5.1. You've been given values of M and you've been given values of L, and they've been given in that particular table. The first one is calculate and record values of log M slash 10 to the power of 30 and log L slash 10 to the power of 28 in table 2.1. Include the absolute uncertainties in log M over 10 to the power of 30. So uncertainties we're going to cover it in the next video, so please be patient, right? But this is always going to be 2 marks whenever you tackle a paper 5. 1 mark will be for completing the missing values, then the other mark will be for putting the uncertainties that will be required in the table just from you. So in this video, we're going to be talking about calculating and recording those values. So we've been asked to calculate and record values of log M and log L. So first, there are 3 important rules that you must be aware of. One, we're going to cover in the next video because it resonates with logarithms. But the first one that we're going to cover, the number of significant figures in the raw data will also be equal to the number of significant figures that you will put in your calculated value plus 1 more. I repeat, the raw data basically, for example, M is the raw data to help us calculate log M, right? Raw data just refers to what are the quantities that you need to calculate the thing that you are required to calculate. That's basically what a raw data is. So I'm saying find the number of significant figures in the raw data, and that will be the number of significant figures in your in your calculated values. So for example, if your raw data is 2SF, let's assume mass has 2SF. I expect your calculated value for log m to also have 2SF. You can be fancy and put 3SF, that's perfectly fine, but you don't exceed that. That is the first rule that you're going to need to be aware of. Rule number one, let's put that aside. Rule number two is that for logarithms, the number of decimal places, I repeat, guys, please have a book where you're writing these things down. For logarithms, the number of decimal places you put on your answer must be equal to the number of significant figures in the raw data that you will be given, or one more. Bear in mind that one more aspect is okay, but I just recommend that you follow the first rule. Raw data, like I said, is just the original data points that you'll be given in every single question, guys. So don't ever get wrong on this one. Please don't do that, right? So basically, that's the rule, right? If you go back here, if I have m and I want to calculate log m 10 to the power of 30, I just have to say log 4.8, right? And I'm going to get 0. That particular answer that you're seeing on the screen, right? So like I said, the number of decimal places, if I have logarithms, must be equal to the number of significant figures on the raw data. Why is that true? Quite honestly, I don't know. These are some of the rules that we're just going to have to take with a grain of salt. So I'm going to write it as 0.68, right? Log 6.4, 0.81. Log 12, 1.08. Remember, two decimal places. Is 3SF the whole number? Sure. But the decimal place is supposed to be 2 because the raw data has 2SF, right? Log m, that's 1.36. Log 43, that's 1.63. Log 91, that's 1.96. You can say 1.959. Again, 3 decimal places can also work. I said plus one more, but you don't really need to do that really. We go for log L, again, same thing. Log 1.4, that's 0.15. Log 3.1, log 32, log 350, that's 2.54. Log 3600, log 66,000, and you get 4.82. That's basically all you're doing. All you're doing is just punching numbers by following some formula. But you lose marks for not following these laws that I'm telling you about significant figures. And I gave you just 2, right? Whatever you calculate, it must have the same number of significant figures as the raw data. If it's logarithms, same number of decimal places as the significant figures in the raw data. Please, don't get lost. We're going to do one last example and we should be calling it a wrap for this one. It comes from May, June 2023, question paper 5.1. And you've been given the relationship between C, CP, and CQ. In your graph, you're given CP, you're given CQ, and asked to calculate C, right? C out of 10. And that big T is basically the mean time, right? So what you're going to do to calculate C, it's a calculated value. So you're going to take CP for the first one. It's 5.6, for example, 2.2 times 1.5 divided by 2.2 plus 1.5, and you're going to get 0.89. This is a calculated value. So what did I say? What is the rule, right? So the rule is essentially you're going to have 2 significant figures in your calculated value because the least number of significant figures in your raw data is 2. Right? So it must be equal to the number of significant figures in your raw data. So if you have 2 data points, right, I left that out. If you had 2 data points, you're going to choose the least number of significant figures. So let's assume if CP had 3SF and CQ had 2SF, I would choose CQ, that is 2SF, to be the least. So my calculated value would either have 2SF or 3SF, right? For the mean time, you're just taking 2 times, add them, divide by 2, 13.7, add them, divide by 2, 20.4, 24.3, and 16.1. And this is just the mean time, so add the first and second, divide by 2, right? And you see that I have 3SF because the least number of significant figures in my time is 3. So I decide to also use 3SF on that. So remember, the number of significant figures determines everything, except for logs. Keep the sig figures the same as the raw data or the one more. Please, let us not get lost on this one. And if you do this, you'll be done and you'll be ready to get this mark, right? And I think that's basically all that you're going to need, right? So I'll meet you guys in the next video where we're going to be talking about absolute uncertainties. How do you calculate them? How do they actually work? So I'll catch you in this particular video. And please subscribe on your way out. And I'll see you there.